The ocean is vast and indifferent. For weeks, you might see nothing but blue and the odd container ship. The sea doesn't care about your billion-dollar warship. It's a blank canvas until someone decides to paint chaos across it. Suddenly boredom vanishes, replaced by a cold, primal fear. Out there you think you're invincible. This isn't a story about a fair fight, it's about a sucker punch. On July 12, 2025, the illusion of American naval supremacy was about to be shattered by a ghost. The crew of the USS Thomas Hoodner were about to write the first chapter. They were sailing along when the sea reminded them it's never on your side. The calm was about to be broken, violently. The sea doesn't care who you are. The USS Thomas Hoodner, an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, is a floating fortress, over 500 feet long, bristling with missiles and the Aegis combat system. Its job Project Power, and it does so with brutal efficiency. On this day, it patrolled the Strait of Hormuz, the world's most vital and dangerous maritime choke point. A third of the world's oil passes through here daily, making it a constant flashpoint. The Hoodner was on a routine patrol, reminding everyone who's boss. Dawn broke over a flat, hazy sea. The crew settled into another long, hot day. Commander Eva Rostova, calm and seasoned, surveyed the usual clutter of tankers and fishing boats. Everything was routine until it wasn't. In warfare, routine is the word you hear before disaster. The greatest dangers are the ones you don't see coming. Deep in Iran's coastal mountains, an invisible threat was preparing to make its debut. The stage was set for a new kind of attack. The crew had no idea what was coming, but the world was about to change. And it would start with a single, terrifying moment. For years, naval warfare was simple. Big ships, big guns, and then big missiles. The Americans, with their Aegis system, were masters at shooting down incoming threats, but the Iranians weren't building a better missile. They were changing the rules. Enter the Farth 360 swarm, not one missile but a coordinated system. Imagine firing 100 small intelligent rockets instead of one big one. Each missile talks to the others, weaving, jinking and attacking from every direction. They're a hive mind, hypersonic, unpredictable and overwhelming. The Farth 360 launches from hidden coastal sites, climbs, then dives, spreading out and confusing radar. One missile designates the target, the rest attack from all angles, some skimming the waves, others diving from above. The genius is in the chaos. Aegis can handle a dozen threats, but what about 50, all behaving erratically? It's like trying to catch 50 tennis balls thrown at you at once. The system is overwhelmed, forced to make impossible choices. Which missile is real? Which do you shoot first? While the computers struggle, the swarm closes in. It's a checkmate move, a revolution in naval warfare. The old rules no longer applied. The Americans were about to find out just how much the game had changed, and the first move was already in play. The first warning wasn't a blip on a screen, it was a shout, "Vampire! Vampire! Multiple inbound!" Instantly, the ship snapped to action. Alarms blared. Sailors sprinted to battle stations. The Aegis system came alive, screens lighting up with dozens of incoming threats. Operators designated targets, launching interceptors, SM, 2S and Sea Sparrows into the sky. Some missiles vanished from the screens, but for everyone destroyed, more appeared. The swarm was inside the final defense perimeter. The Phalanx CIS, nicknamed Sea Whiz, spun up, firing a wall of tungsten at the sea skimmers. The roar of the CIWS was deafening, a sound of pure desperation. On the bridge, Commander Rostova ordered, "Engage! Fire at will!" The crew threw everything they had at the swarm, a wall of steel and explosives, but the swarm was relentless, unpredictable, and too numerous. The old ways of fighting weren't enough. The first impact was seconds away. In moments, the Hoodner would face the unthinkable. The future of naval warfare had arrived, and it was merciless. The crew braced for impact. The calm was gone, replaced by chaos. The sea had delivered its verdict. Inside the Hoodner, chaos reigned, but it was organized chaos. This was what they trained for, to keep the ship alive, no matter what. In the engine rooms, engineers stood ready to fight fires or reroute power. In the CIC, young sailors worked with laser focus, launching countermeasures and feeding data to the commander. Chaff and decoys filled the air, trying to confuse the incoming missiles. On deck, the Phalanx CIWS fired a dome of lead, desperate to stop the sea skimmers. The crew hunkered down, trusting the ship's defenses. Flashes in the distance marked brief victories, but the swarm was too smart, too many. As the Aegis focused on high divers, a handful of sea skimmers broke through. The CIWS shredded two in a spectacular explosion, but a third missile jinked past the defenses. The wall of steel had been breached. The moment of impact had arrived. The Hudna was about to be tested as never before. The crew's resolve would decide its fate. The next seconds would define everything. The missile struck the Hudna aft, just above the waterline. The explosion rocked the ship, sending smoke and shrapnel through the superstructure. Emergency lights flickered on as alarms screamed for fire and flooding. The fight against the swarm was over. Now it was a fight to save the ship. Damage control teams charged into smoke-filled corridors, battling fire and rising water. Miraculously, the core systems survived. Engines ran, radar worked, and the CIC was operational. The Hudna was wounded but not dead, a testament to its design and crew. Slowly fires were contained and flooding isolated. Listing and trailing smoke, the ship limped away from danger. The toll was grim casualties, twisted steel and a damaged propeller shaft, but the Hudna had survived a weapon designed to guarantee a kill. As it steamed towards safety, it was both vulnerable and resilient. The world had witnessed the future of naval combat. The Hudna was proof that American power could be hurt, but not easily sunk. The lesson was clear, the rules had changed. The attack on the Hudna sent shockwaves through the world's navies. The age of the untouchable supership was over. The Fath 360 swarm hadn't sunk the Hudna, but it had rewritten the rules. Now a cheap, land-based missile system could threaten billion-dollar warships. This is asymmetric warfare, leveling the playing field. Iran, or any nation with similar tech, no longer needs a big navy. Just a few launchers and a willingness to change the game. The Pentagon's scrambling for answers, better missiles, lasers, defensive drones. Or is the era of the massive surface ship ending? Maybe the future is underwater, in the air, or even in space. On July 12, 2025, the world entered a new era. Are destroyers and carriers still queens of the chessboard, or just big, expensive targets? The sea doesn't care about your reputation. The game has changed, and nobody knows the new rules.